I called CPS on my daughter and she is facing losing custody of her baby. For context, my daughter is 15 years old. She has been living in my house with her 2-month-old son since he was born, and I recently reported her to Child Services. She has a case opened and the case manager is on the verge of recommending removal, several factors at play. When she first told me she was pregnant, I told her she either got an abortion, gave the baby up for adoption, or she could have the baby but I would give her nothing but what I am legally required to. She had only recently started high school, and I will be the first to admit I took the news exceptionally hard. I was scared out of my mind for her. My wife had always kept things open and told me she'd taken her to our local health department to talk about birth control. Our daughter opted out and her doctor was in support, so we got her a large bag of condoms in the event she were to choose to become sexually active. She was prepared, she had the knowledge, she refused birth control and ended up pregnant. Honestly, we couldn't even afford to support her and the baby if we wanted to. My wife hasn't worked since 2011 and her disability hardly makes a dent in our expenses. We finally had to downsize our home and sell my wife's car just a few months before my daughter announced her pregnancy. I was working hours that just weren't sustainable and my wife needed me to help her at home. About 5 months into the pregnancy, my daughter insisted on raising the baby. Her boyfriend moved away to live with family in another state and didn't tell her. She found out when the relatives made a post on social media about how excited they were there, and then she was slowly blocked by the rest of the family. She hasn't heard from him since, he has never met his son and the family has never reached out. I told my daughter when she refused to abort that I would in no uncertain terms support her child, that I would love and treat them like a grandparent is expected to, but I would not be financially responsible for its care or keeping, and if she could not find a way to provide, I would call the appropriate authorities to intervene. She dropped out but only got a part-time job, was unmotivated to get her GED or diploma through adult education. I actually offered to pay for her class fees and test fees, and expected that my wife would take care of the baby while she was at work. She would often forget and miss a feed, refused to pump milk regularly and got a major breast infection, would often delay changing to save money on diapers. It was not a good situation. My wife and I of course were there behind her and have been using formula and making sure he was getting nutrients, but my daughter was not nurturing this child in any competent manner and while not malicious, was often neglectful of the baby. It wasn't easy to make the call, but it was necessary and something I had long prepared to do. My daughter hates me, my wife is empathetic but has stood by my decision from the start, and I am both uncertain and at peace with my choices. Part of me feels like I did the best I could for everyone involved, and part of me knows I betrayed my daughter in a horrible way, and part of me knows that this baby deserves better than what she, and really we, could provide.